Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Ms. Jacinta Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Ms. Tobin.
Bujari Mulinawu, Naya Jacinta Tobin, Wamali, Nalawa, and Walamadagu, Nora. Good morning, my name is Jacinta Tobin. I'm from the Wamali clan, and we stand on the Walamadagu Nation, clan group of the Darug Nation. I would like to acknowledge my elders past and present, and also I would like to acknowledge all my mothers, because my mothers have been born here for 60,000 years, and this is to acknowledge my elders. We're-oo-wee, boo-boo-woo. We're-oo-wee, boo-boo-woo. Yana yindi, yana January. Aboriginal women strong. Aboriginal women strong. Walk with you, walk with me, January. We're-oo-wee, boo-boo-woo. We're-oo-wee, boo-boo-woo. Yana yindi, yana January. I'd just like to congratulate all of you for putting the hard yards through. It's not easy. And also to talk, I actually sang that song. I was thinking, wait a minute, you're in business and trade. And then I thought, actually, our women were part of business and trade at times past, so it seemed appropriate to sing about the mothers. But we actually had trade in this country. We have had it for 60,000 years. One that covered 250 different countries. So there's 250 different speaking Aboriginal nations that make up Australia. And we are the I'm from Wamali, or my mothers have come from Wamali, so mum's mum, her mum, her mum, her mum. But we also married into the Burrabrongal clan. And the Burrabrongal people were of Richmond area, and they would actually take river rocks all the way down to Canberra for a gathering. And they'd wait for us because we're carrying rocks. But it was a trading system. But it wasn't a trade in this country. We never gained or profited from people. This is a very new concept for us as Aboriginal people. What we did was even gift exchange. The Central Australian people call it jakapa, which is about having the same sort of gifts. So possum skin coat was one of our main trades here in country. And a possum skin brought a lot of other gifts with it because it took a lot to make a possum skin coat. And these river rocks that would travel down to Canberra, you can find them in museums in WA, Western Australia. That's how far our trade travelled across this country. So from Richmond here in Sydney area, the greater Western Sydney area, our river rocks would trade all the way to WA. But as I said, it wasn't to profit from each other. We didn't want to hoard anything. There was nothing we needed to hoard or to gain. And so if we can think about the trade that has been here and sustained itself for 60,000 years without one lot rising above each other, hopefully we could all dream together in the future to come that economics and fair trade become one. So again, I'd like to congratulate you and welcome all of you to country, And from the Darug people, we say yanum, which is goodbye. Didrigal.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the Vice-Chancellor of Macquarie University, Professor S. Bruce Doughton. Professor Doughton.
Jacinta, thank you for your welcome to country today. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends of our graduands, and most importantly, our graduands themselves. It is my distinct honour and pleasure to welcome you all here today for this graduation ceremony, and I hope it will be a wonderful occasion for each and every one of you. Today we celebrate the achievements of those of you who are about to receive your degrees. Completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind, determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices along the way. You have worked very hard to get here today over many years, and you have every right to feel proud of your accomplishments as you have achieved this milestone. We at Macquarie University are also very proud of you, and so congratulations to each and every one of you again. Today I also want to welcome those of you sitting on my left and to the rear behind our graduands. The fact that you have been invited here today by one of our graduands is proof positive that you have played a very important role and influence in their lives. So I thank you for being here as well today to celebrate the accomplishments and achievements of your friends, family and loved ones. You graduands may not realise that you are about to participate in one of the oldest of Europe's social rituals. If you were to pick a date of, say, 1500 AD and look and see what social institutions were present then that remain present today, you would only find about 60. The Roman Catholic Church, the parliaments of England, Iceland, and believe it or not, the Isle of Man, and about 6 Swiss cantons. The rest of the institutions are in fact universities. So that's right, there are 50 universities across the globe that can trace their history back 500 or more years. And in every one of those 500 years, graduates like you have been donning academic regalia, just as you are today, and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Macquarie University is, you will not be surprised to know, not one of those universities of such age. We are celebrating our Jubilee year this year, turning 50 years from the signing of the Act of Parliament in the New South Wales Parliament, which created this university as the third university in Sydney. But in those 50 years, we have indeed come a long way. We have graduates living in 140 countries, and this year, in fact early next week, we will celebrate the graduation of the 150,000th graduate of Macquarie University on one of the days of graduation next week. And in just a few moments, it will be my extraordinary honour to confer upon you the degrees to which you are entitled, and to welcome you as members of that lifelong community of scholars which we know as Macquarie University. Graduands, welcome again and congratulations.
Vice-Chancellor, I call on Miss Martha Sabrina, who is graduating today with a Bachelor of Commerce, Professional Accounting, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Miss Sabrina.
Vice Chancellor. members of university, fellow graduates and guests. I'm very pleased to be able to say a few words on behalf of the graduates on the most important day of our university life, our graduation day. Indeed, we come from a variety of backgrounds. Many come straight from high school. Some are educating themselves while bringing up a family. Some study part-time while being a part of a workforce, while the others still who have a different story altogether. I personally come straight from high school and studied at college for 1.5 years before continuing my degree in Macquarie University. It was obviously a challenging journey for me, as I remember I tried to memorize my student number, building locations, and how the university system works, which are absolutely new things for me. In regards for the exam, I made a summary of the summary for at least 3 weeks in advance to be able to master the topic. Hence, all these experiences bring me to highlight a special feature of Macquarie University. We all here equally treated and being able to share a very rewarding and worthwhile experience in university life. Throughout the course, we surely have received a formal recognition for our academic work. However, based on my experience, not only assignments, reports, and exams, but my mind actually has been stimulated and enriched by my colleagues' questions and knowledge. It also in the case we chose many of us who have been fortunate enough to make a long life friendships and connections through the activities done. In addition to that, we have also shared the use and enjoyment of these wonderful grounds we stand in now. We studied in library, drank at the bar, and lay in the sun over the lake. We are very blessed to have so much nature and greenery surround us, something that is increasingly rare in modern university today. I felt that with all these facilities provided, they have encouraged me to study, to continue my further studies back in Macquarie University. As a student, we also have received effective practical and teaching from lecturers and tutors. Many have gone beyond the duty to answer our last-minute emails, review the draft assignments, and explain solutions which has been dealt outside the normal working hours. Therefore, I respect and thank those who are involved in these teaching and learning programs, the academic staff, lecturers, tutors, librarians, and other support staff for all the support and understanding throughout our degree. The education and experience we receive become a great start to our professional life. Moreover, to those who have supported us, the family, friends, partner, and who have been playing a big role in our university lives, we should appreciate and all the supports and efforts given by them when we are down, stressful with all due dates and exam horror. Personally, I would like to thank my mom, my dad, my partner Raman, and my friends who have helped me to get to where I am today. Now, as we look forward, most of us will be heading a different direction. Some of us has already started our careers, while the others who is still just the beginning. As we graduate today, we reflect on our university journey we've been through. We cherish the highs, we learn from the lows, and above all, we remember the lessons we learned at the university. Once again, congratulations to all my fellow graduates. What we have achieved in our time in university, especially Macquarie University, is unique and special. And these memories hopefully will stay with us for the rest of our days. Thank you for allowing me to speak on your behalf today.
Congratulations, Martha, on your degree today, and thank you for those reflections upon your study here at Macquarie University. I think Martha has certainly echoed the feelings of many of the graduands here today about the hard work and the dedication, all those examinations, and particularly importantly, the recognition of the families and support that you have all provided to our graduands today. As Vice-Chancellor of Macquarie University, I especially look forward to presiding at our graduation ceremonies and conferring degrees and diplomas upon those who have complied with the university's requirements for such awards. I now call upon the Deputy Registrar, Mr. Jonathan Wiley, to formally certify the eligibility of those who have met the requirements for these awards. Mr. Wiley.
Vice-Chancellor, I certify that all candidates presented here today and those who are absent have met the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees and the diplomas they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees and diplomas please stand?
Yes, that's you. That's you. You've made it. In the name of Macquarie University Council and by my authority delegated from the Council as Vice-Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees and diplomas for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Vice-Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Business and Economics. This is the largest faculty at Macquarie University and is indeed one of the largest within Australia. A broad range of programs in some of the most exciting and topical areas of business and economics are offered, and these continue to be in high demand both domestically and internationally. Graduates have recorded employment levels and starting salaries which are well above the average for Australian business schools. Research in this faculty is cutting edge and innovative, feeding into teaching to give students the best possible learning experience. The faculty includes research and study areas in accounting, actuarial studies, applied finance, economics, management, and marketing. Vice-Chancellor, I now call upon Professor Anne Ross-Smith, acting on behalf of the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economics, to present the graduates. Professor Ross-Smith.
Vice-Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Business and Economics whom you have admitted to degrees. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Bachelor of Commerce. Scarlett Jade Abernethy. Andrew John Francis. Malcolm Gander. Mitchell Janssens. Francesca Bell Jobbins. Erin Louise McCritchie. Andre Emile McCallion. Rabia Ozdemir. Christopher Paul Penici. Michael Prentice. Grace Teresa Rogers. Mitchell Rees Waters. I present the graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Business Administration with Bachelor of Arts Psychology. Samuel Lagos. Nicola Rubicek. Samantha Lien Tan. Cameron Jack Taylor. I present graduates admitted to the Bachelor of Business Administration with the Bachelor of Commerce Professional Accounting. Cha Wen Gary Chu. Renee Pearson. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Sarah Agya Ajinen. Longar James Acol. Tammy Wee. Akari Fujiwara. Malia Khadija Jaffrey. Sin Tung Lee. William Keith Lemazurier. Huduk Nguyen. Eloise Amanda Sinfield. Excuse me, Vice Chancellor, I seem to have the wrong list.
There will be a musical offering later. I will decline to sing in the interim.
Sorry, there was a name crossed off, but it has now a tick beside it. I apologise, Jasmine. Jasmine Singh. So that's Jin there. Jiangliang Liu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Business Administration. Nicholas Allen. Tong Rudy Tree Chandra. Yiling Feng. Monique Valerie Galvez. Ming Sam Ha. Pui Ho Ho. Shirley Jasana. Anthony Larg. Howard Lee. Myung Wong Lee. Sam Yi Lee. Jing O. Kei Wen Pan. Kaya Scanlon. Elvina Panama Sanjaya. Alexander Thompson. Liang Yang. Xiaozhi Liu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Commerce. D. Bai. Rowan Bachara. Kitty Sut Ying Chan. Chui Ying Chan. Ka Meng Chow. Edwin Soon Seng Chua. Abigail Miranda Gedate. Louise Hellstrom. Emily Jane Kelly. Cosimo Mark Lacalandra. Prayag Prakesh Lagan. Kin Lai. Man Lam. Bourbon Tony Law. Agnes Laurent. Philip Jarjuin Lee. Jershin Lei. Guo Xian Li. Chihua Li. Jia Chi Li. Jia Shi Li. Lin Li. Shua Li. Shi Li. Zabin Li. Yi Wen Lin. Ming Lin Liu. Yong Dian Lo. Yu Chen Liu. Lam Chi San. Jia Wei Luo. Ray Ma. Lewis Matheson. Emily McCartney. Sarah Mackay. Juling May. Fahad Akbar Muhaya. Gideon Musali. Sao Fei Ng. Tony Ka Kai Ng. Hing Kim Tru Nguyen. Kwok Ton Nguyen. Thi Tang Hien Nguyen. Julius Kim Hien Hong. Floyd Orabello. Xuan Ouyang. Daniel Jordan Pruse. Zilin Chu. Tu Ha Kwok. Jian Hong Ruan. Minette Sarek. Richard Scaff. Fu Wen Shi. Jen Shi. Ross Matthew Streeter. Jian Rousseau. Ching San. Seong Swen. Jerlin Tang. Valiant Tenacious. Shirley. Shirley Chandra. Mang Ha Vu. Hui Shan Huang. Juan Wang. Jue Wang. Shadan Wang. Ya Chuen Wang. Ying Huang. Ying Chun Huang. Xu Wei. Sha Wei. Yun Zhe Wei. Vilya Vincent Wijaya. Claire Wilcox. Heather Wilson. Han Wu. Hui Wu. Yuan Ting Wu. Shinran She. Shu Yuan She. Sha Mang She. Shuo Yan. Han Yang. Xing Yang. Fu Chiang Ye. Hui Ye. Shu Wen Yi. Carlo Yip. My hat's falling off today. Joe Nico Yosiako Yanadi. Yin Yu. Wei Ying Jing. Ming Zhang. O Zhang. Xiong Zhang. That's a nice name. Ting Ting Jung. Sha Wen Jung. Yan Jung. Yu Jiao Jung. Chen Chang Zhou. Chao Yu Zhu. Yahweh Zhu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Professional Accounting. Phi Yu Lam. Kam Fung Michael Lau. Chen Wei Li. Wei Jian Li. Jin Mang Li. Si Li. Shao Li. Ying Chenze Li. Xiao Xue Yang. Xiao Jun Lin. Kang Duo Liu. Pratik Mehta. Yun Mei. Sumiat Mon. Easy one. Stephen Peter Charles Marath. Ti Huyen Trung Nguyen. Ping Yi Ong. Han Rao. Martha Sabrina. Tong Sha. Bo Wen Shen. James Shenstone. Nicole Doreen Shepherd. Yu She. Grace Tse Wei So. Charlene Swen. Yong Yi Tan. Jessica Tanujaya. JoBeth Tevers. Donnie Chandra Teo. Matthew Shao Ping Ting. Carman Corey Chow. Man Ho Che. Dira Sugiswara Vidanna J. Annie Chi Wang. Lu Huang. Chu Miao Huang. Xin Huang. Safira Warra. Lai Hui. Ting Ting Hui. Pei Xuan Wang. Ka Wing Edwin Wong. Hai Yen Wu. Ha Ran Wu. Bo Wei Shi. Shuo Yang. Li Shanye. Fang Bo Yan Yi. Ho Yu Liu. Kai Kit Yoon. Ayun Zhang. Songzhi Zhang. Honglin Zhang. Ling Li Zhang. Mang Yi Zhang. Min Tong Zhang. Tian Jiao Zhang. Jingnan Zhou. Pian Hongju. Vice-Chancellor, that completes this morning's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Business and Economics.
Ladies and gentlemen, that remarkable voice belongs to Ms. Angela Brewer. I neglected at the outset of today's ceremony to bring our graduates now greetings from our Chancellor, the Honourable Michael Egan, and our Deputy Chancellor, Ms. Elizabeth Crouch, who are unable to be here today. Mr. Egan notes when he hears Angela sing every time that we are indeed very fortunate to have Angela sing at most of our graduations. He goes on to note that if she's not present, he would have to sing, and he doesn't think that's a good idea. And I can assure you, even compared to our Chancellor, you would not want me singing at today's event. So please join me again in thanking Angela Brewer for her wonderful performance. I would also like you to join me in thanking our musicians, the organist, Dr. James Forsyth, our trumpeter, Melanie McLaughlin, and surrounding Dr. Forsyth and Melanie and spread around the auditorium are a wonderful group of very dedicated alumni who come along to help us with graduations. I'm very appreciative of your support. Thank you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure at this ceremony to honour, in accordance with the resolution of the University Council, Mr. Philip Adams, AO, for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa of Macquarie University. I now invite Professor Saki Pretorius, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Macquarie University, to read the citation. Professor Pretorius.
Philip Andrew Hedley Adams, I ask you to stand for the citation. Philip Andrew is a prolific broadcaster, writer, and filmmaker. As presenter of ABC Radio National's Late Night Live, he has interviewed thousands of the world's most influential politicians, historians, archaeologists, novelists, theologians, economists, philosophers, and sundry conservationalists. His laid-back approach has become a trademark for the Late Night Live, as his humour, curiosity, his ability to flesh out rare insights from his guests, and his amazing store of anecdotal knowledge. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, he presented a late-night program on Sydney Commercial Radio 2UE. Largely self-educated, having left school in his mid-teens, he is the author of more than 20 books, and his writing has appeared in many of Australia's most influential publications. He has been a contributor to The Times, the Financial Times in London, and to the New York Times. He previously wrote regular columns for The Age and The Bulletin, and has written a weekly column for The Australian for many years. Mr. Adams has been a successful advertising executive and film producer. His films include The Adventures of Barry Mackenzie, The Getting of Wisdom, Don's Party, Lonely Hearts, We of the Never Never. Adams's Australia was part of the BBC TV's contribution to Australia's bicentennial celebrations. Other TV programs include 2 series of The Big Questions with Professor Paul Davies and Dearth and Destiny, filmed in Egypt with Paul Cox. A foundation member of the Australia Council and chairman of the Film, Radio and Television Board, Adams has chaired the Australian Film Institute, the Australian Film Commission, Film Australia, and the National Australia Day Council, with the principal task of choosing the Australian of the Year. He is a former president of the Victorian Council for the Arts and was foundation chairman of the Commission for the Future established by the Hawke government to build bridges between science and the community. His many board memberships have included the Festival of Ideas in Adelaide and Brisbane, the Families in Distress Foundation, the Don Dunstan Foundation, the Museum of Australia, Greenpeace Australia, Care Australia, The Australian, Children's Television Foundation, Film Victoria, and the Anti-Football League. He was co-founder of the Australian Skeptics, as well as 2 Orders of Australia. He was Australian Humanist of the Year in 1987, Republican of the Year 2005, and received the Longford Award, the film industry's highest accolade, in 1981, and the same year that he was appointed Senior Anzac Fellow. He was a recipient of the Henry Lawson's Arts Award in 1987, and in 1998, the National Trust elected him one of Australia's 100 living national treasures. Vice-Chancellor, it is with extraordinary pleasure that I present to you Philip Andrew Hedley Adams, AO, for the award of the degree of letters, honoris causa.
Mr. Philip Andrew Hedley Adams, AO, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority delegated from the Council, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa. It is now my great pleasure to invite Dr. Philip Adams, AO, to deliver the occasional address. Dr. Adams.
Vice-Chancellor, distinguished scholars, graduates and friends and family. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Macquarie on a beautifully executed ceremony. I've been to a few of these, but I find them deeply, deeply moving. We all leave the ceremony with new degrees. Yours hard-earned, mine a generous gift from the university. They are, to recoin a phrase, degrees of separation. For as your professional lives begin, mine is ending. As you face an unknown future, I look back on a past that, known all too well, I find hard to believe. Consider a few of the very subtle changes I've experienced. My early childhood was spent on a small farm on the outskirts of Melbourne, where life had changed very little from the Middle Ages. The main technology, a horse-drawn plough. We'd no car. To get produce to market, Grandpa backed our draft horse into the shafts of a cart. Other horses and carts delivered bread, milk, wood, ice for the icebox, lacking a fridge. The radio, the wireless, was our only electrical appliance. Now I live on a very big farm with vast amount of horsepower provided by a variety of vehicles, tractors and strange machines. And my wife Patrice sells her produce on the internet. Radio. I used to listen to it on a crystal set that could only pick up one faint and fugitive signal in a world where the media was scarcely mass. Just half a dozen local radio stations, 3 newspapers, and the Australian Woman's Weekly. With heavy-handed nostalgia, I call my ABC show the Little Wireless Program. But I sit in a studio surrounded by unimaginable gadgetry, talking to guests and listeners around the planet. Our worldwide audience, enjoying almost infinite choice, catches up to the Little Wireless Program via millions of podcast downloads. From Grandpa's horse and cart to the billy cart I used to deliver newspapers, soon to be paperless. Scores of mastheads I've written for over the last 60 years have long since vanished, and the few paper-printed survivors are, like myself, historical curiosities. My other childhood job was delivering telegrams on a very heavy red post office bike. Telegrams received via Morse code, the tapping technology that was then 100 years old and soon to fall silent forever. I'd go to Saturday matinees at a local cinema, long closed, watching images projected by shafts of light onto a blotchy screen, American serials, American westerns, and Tarzan films, never imagining for a moment that Australians could have any role in making movies, that very American term. I didn't realise that Australia had in fact made the world's first feature films shortly in the first part of the 20th century. I shot my first film on a 16mm clockwork camera that ran out of puff every 20 seconds, and I edited it with a pair of scissors and sellotape. Now all of you have movie cameras in your smartphones. Film is all but forgotten, as the entire industry, from filming, editing and special effects, to the flexing shafts of light in the cinemas, have gone digital and stand by for holographic 3D, movies in the round, spectacles you see without spectacles, screened without screens. I grew up on books were the bricks of my learning and imagination. Books, mainly those that pour from authors and universities, are the bricks that build my Little Wireless Program. I've still got 40,000 of them piled up in room after room, books that no one will want, not when the entire literary and scholarly output of the world, past, present and future, can be downloaded onto iPhone, iPad or Kindle. My books, so precious to me, will be landfill tomorrow. Flight. My first was in the open cockpit of a tiny tiger moth, a fragile thing of canvas, wood and wire. It seemed only moments later that I was crossing the Atlantic faster than the speed of sound in the Concorde. And meanwhile, we'd landed on the moon, and Voyager, having passed the planets of our solar system, was heading into deeper space. DNA, GM, GPS, GFC. There's an alphabet soup of the good, the bad and the ugly of scientific, political and technological transformation, which is confronting to me, but business as usual for your generation, along with the prospect of a future in which disease is defeated and life expectancy expanded by orders of magnitude. Unless, as was stated a minute ago, in the early 80s I chaired a government-funded organisation called the Commission for the Future. Now, very much in the past, our allotted task was to make people think about and make wiser choices for the future of themselves and the world, specifically, yes, by building those bridges between scientists and citizen. And we made our principal task the education of Australia on something then called the greenhouse effect, known and named in the 19th century, rechristened global warming, and more recently, because it sounds less frightening, climate change. At that time, it seemed to me that all we need to do is explain the issue, and humans, having caused much of the problem, would unite to fix it. A perfect example of science and citizens building bridges and less destructive forms of power generation. How wrong I was. Instead, the divisions between us are deeper and more dangerous than ever. Not those between scientists, they simply haggle over subtleties, but the divisions within communities, between rich and poor, advanced versus developing, left versus right, sane versus crackpots. At the very first meeting of the CFF, a British scientist provided this unforgettable aphorism: data is not information. Information isn't knowledge, and knowledge isn't wisdom. And with climate change, denialism an increasing threat, a form of criminality in my view, the truth of that aphorism becomes truer day by day, hence my ominous word, unless. Unless we inquire wisdom, we will watch our world wilt and wither, making the wars of the 20th century, making the wars of the 21st century eclipse those of the 20th, when 150 million people died in conflict and genocides. Now, the exhilarating changes I've experienced and described will clearly accelerate in your hopefully much longer lifetimes, but are threatened by the global shortage of wisdom, by the fact that, like bigotry, willful ignorance is aided and abetted by the new technologies. You should read my hate mail. Universities, themselves facing the threats of technology, aren't only about the accumulation of data, information and knowledge. Their most important task is to lead you, and through you, your communities and the world, towards wisdom. And that is your task as you move into the next stages of your life. Collective stupidity versus collective and cumulative genius. The brilliance that is defeating disease and delaying and perhaps one day defeating human death, that is discovering unimaginable forms of interconnectivity, may find belated ways to cool and calm things down through big money engineering, not to cure climate change, but to minimise its impact. Corporate America can see a quid in that. If so, your future will be astonishing. But let me conclude with words far wiser than mine from another grumpy old man, spoken at a press conference in Madrid. His name was Pablo Casals. He was as famous a Spanish Pablo as Picasso, widely regarded as the world's greatest cellist. He'd survived the worst years of modern Spanish history, from the Civil War, Guernica, through the decades of triumphant fascism under Franco. All the Spanish media turned up to hear what Pablo Casals had to say, and his view of the world was bleak. Everywhere he saw a human race in deep, deep trouble, with wars and woes and famines and pandemics, natural and unnatural disasters. Then suddenly he fell silent. A few moments' thought. Then two simple and profound sentences. Sentences that at first don't seem to fit together. Sentences in conflict. The situation is hopeless, Casals said. We must take the next step. The situation is hopeless in environmental, fiscal, and political terms. We are surrounded by problems that seem beyond repair. But being human, we must take the next step, as we took that famous first step onto the moon. I've taken most of mine. Now it's your turn. Congratulations on your degrees. Now, take the next step. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think you will all agree that we have been indeed very fortunate today to have such words from Dr. Philip Adams. He has reflected in a few short minutes across a vast array of his own life's experience and offered us all, particularly our new graduates today, reflections and advice for the future. And I think importantly, intercalating from his words, the notion that our decisions today affect the future of the world into which we and our children and their children will proceed. Again, Dr. Adams, thank you very much for being here today. I invite you all to thank Dr. Adams again for a wonderful job. Graduates, this ceremony marks a change in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it is certainly, we hope, not the end of your association with us. From today, for the rest of your lives, you are part of the greater Macquarie University family, which is our alumni. And as I mentioned earlier, spread across the globe in almost every country, and soon to be 150,000. Graduates, the award of a degree carries many opportunities and privileges, but with those privileges also come responsibilities. I urge you to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry, to set ambitious goals for yourselves, and to continue the hard work that has already brought you so far. I urge you, in the words of our guest speaker, to take the next step. I challenge you all to continue the exercise of sound judgment and initiative, and to always be generous in offering practical advice or the wisdom of your experience as it accumulates to those you meet along life's journey. In the last 18 months since I assumed the Vice-Chancellorship of Macquarie University, with my colleagues in the university community, we have embarked upon a process of defining the far horizon future for Macquarie University. We have settled upon that Macquarie University should be today and for all time a university of service and engagement. My hope is that you, as graduates of Macquarie University, will use what you have learned here not only for your own benefit and the benefit of your family and those immediately around you, but for the benefit of others close by, a little further and far beyond. That concept of service, which we as a university have taken a hold of and committed ourselves to for all time. Marion Wright Edelman, a jurist in the United States, has a wonderful saying about the concept of service. Service is the rent we pay for living. Service is the rent we pay for living. I urge you to not only take the next step, but also to pay your rent. In all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. I hope also that you will always remember those folks who have helped you along the way to your success, many of whom are here with you today. So to acknowledge their contribution to your success and to thank them, I'm going to ask our graduates to do a couple of things for me. First, I would like you all to please stand up. Now, I would like you to turn around and place your testimers on the seat behind you so your hands are free, and turn around and face your family and friends and give them a mighty round of applause. Now I would ask you to please turn around, but don't sit down just yet, since we will be leaving very shortly. Here on the platform with me are members of our academic staff who have supported you throughout your journey. Please join me in thanking them as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the official party will soon leave the courtyard, followed by the graduates. As we do, Dr. Forsyth will play the traditional music of the end of graduation ceremony, which has been played for centuries at events like this. The words of this age-old Latin lyrics, Gaudeamus igitur, speak to a whimsical way of looking at youth and old age at the same time, of the brevity of life and the inevitability of death, of city and of state, and of happiness. Gaudeamus igitur, nos habebit juventutem. Let us rejoice, let us always be young. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you all to please stand now and remain standing until the last of the graduates have processed out, and join us at the University Court above the lake for light refreshments. Again, to the newest graduates of Macquarie University, my warmest congratulations and every best wish for futures filled with success, satisfaction, and most importantly, happiness. Gaurayama Zigator. Let us therefore rejoice. Thank you.